How time seems to control us and why it shouldn't. Why this took an extra hour to write by Tom Seast. Time changes again. It seems like time changes all the time around our place, and not just twice a year like for most of you. You see, we live roughly 3 miles from the Eastern Standard Time Zone in the Central Standard Time Zone, so we adjust to time changes all the time. 2 of my sons travel through time, and it takes them an extra hour to get to work each day. They then travel back in time to come home and arrive home a half hour before they left work. It can be so confusing. Automatic confusion. Some of the clocks on some of our devices change automatically for us as we pass backward and forward through time on a daily basis. Our computers seem to stay on Central Time unless we move their location. Our phones will switch back and forth between time zones, even on our property, depending on which cell tower is providing service at the moment. Our microwave and clocks in our cars have to be changed manually, so those seem to stay as needed and are at least correct for 2 periods in the year. And then, the government seems to want to change the time on us too. Fast time versus slow time. Around here, the locals refer to it as fast time or slow time. So, when you make an appointment, you have to ask which side of the arbitrary government line the business is located in, so that you know whether you need to be there in fast time or slow time. In a sense, it makes you very aware that time has no meaning. It starts and ends differently for different people. The good and the bad. Zig Ziglar used to say that there was a good and a bad way of expressing everything, and he was right in that regard. He said something like this: you can either tell your wife that she has timeless beauty or a face that could stop a clock. Both have similar meanings, but can be taken very differently, I suppose. My little angel has beauty that transcends time, and each moment with her represents more than the movement of hands on a clock. She may chime in and tell you otherwise, as I am cuckoo for her, but I digress. The proofreader would add an eye roll here. Absolute versus relative. Having someone other than me act as an authority over my time seems to me to make no sense, but it seems to be a tradition here and around the world. I find that it makes about as much sense as putting things where they belong. As a male, I tend to like to put things near where I think I will need them, so that they are available when I want to use them. But I have learned that this is not where they belong. I prefer to have a relative location for a thing where others with more authority tend to like to have an absolute location for that thing, which is where it belongs. Neither position is likely correct or wrong, but I am likely wrong. Timely agreements. If all the parties that intend to get together agreed to a specific time, regardless of time zone, and duration for getting together, either virtually or in person, it seems that everyone coexists and lives in peace and harmony together. So this method of relative timekeeping seems to work. I have learned to speak fast time, slow time, Eastern Standard Time, and Central Standard Time fluently without any major assistance or controversy. Early, late, or on time. It seems that most individuals eventually settle into a pattern. Some people will most likely be early, Some people will most likely be late, and some people will most likely arrive right on time, regardless as to what central keepers and authorities dictate that time to be. Economic and health arguments. Every year, at least twice a year, when the time springs forward or falls back depending on the dictates of those that know best, many discussions and debates rise as to whether the practice of changing time so frequently makes any economic sense or sense health-wise for individuals. But like all other government programs, the changing of time is unlikely to change anytime soon, I suppose. Government has no concern for the economics, logistics, or health effects of one of their authoritarian programs, as they just want compliance. I often wonder what they would do if all just refused to change our clocks. Optimally. Personally, I tend to stick to the relative form of time and try to arrange my day optimally based on my priorities of the day. Bicycle riding in the cool of the day, regardless of the time. Working optimally when I'm most awake and productive and can focus. Sleeping when I'm tired, regardless of time. For me, I prefer relative to absolute time. You. I recommend that you don't lose sleep over it. If you don't want to change your clocks, just don't. Just tell everyone you're either an hour late or on time about half the year. Everyone will adjust if they so desire, and if not, you will part ways. Me. I plan on passing through time with my timeless beauty until I pass on to a place where time has no meaning. Until then, I plan to enjoy my time with her and my family and my friends and associates, and will try to make their time on this flat plane, on this sphere, more enjoyable. If you have the time and aren't rushed, feel free to follow my timeless ramblings at the links listed below.